Once a cop, let it knock, yeah. I for one think we should celebrate redemption instead of condemning it. Corey Pegues, what up? Talking truth, bruh. Check it out. Once a cop.
Pull up a seat. You're now in Corey's Corner, where right conversations matter. I'm your host, Corey Pegues, and I always keep it right, not real. Today on Corey's Corner, we're joined by a powerful voice in New York City, Leadership Council member Dr. Nantasha Williams, representing the 27th District in Southeast Queens, home to Cambria Heights, Hollis, Jamaica, St. Albans, Queens Village, Addersley Park, and Springfield Gardens. Raised by a single mother who worked as a social worker, Dr. Williams learned early the value of service and advocacy lessons that fuel her mission to uplift and protect the most vulnerable in our communities. Before being elected to the City Council, she was a nationally recognized political strategist and activist, founding the New York City Black Women's Political Club to build power for black women across the city and helping to organize the historic Women's March on Washington, D.C. As chair of the Committee on Civil and Human Rights, she's passed landmark legislation from pay transparency laws to anti-racism training for all city employees, while securing millions in investments for parks, housings, and libraries across Southeast Queens. Recently graduated with a PhD in social welfare at CUNY, Dr. Williams continues to blend scholarship, service, and strategy to create a more just and equitable New York City. Welcome, Councilwoman Nantasha Williams.
Thank you.
Thank you for pulling up a seat to Corey's Corner.
No problem.
So happy to have you here. Before we jump into the segment, let me get a quick word from our sponsors. This episode of Corey's Corner is brought to you by Jeff Hunt Traditional Shotokan Karate and Adult Fitness Non-Contact Kickboxing, building confidence, discipline, and strength right here in Laurelton. Whether you're a kid or an adult, Sensei Jeff Hunt's 25 years of experience will help you reach your next level. Call 718-977-1500 to start your journey today. Councilwoman, let's start from the beginning. Fun fact before we start. Maybe 3 years ago, we're both in Puerto Rico. It's hot. We're on the beach. We're actually at a tiki bar. And you come up to me and you go, "Hey, you're Kenyatta's father." And I go, "Yeah, Councilwoman." You're like, "We went to high school together." So I'm like so proud to have, you're like a niece to me. You're like a niece, and you've done so well.
Yeah.
I'm so very happy for you.
Thank you.
I spoke with my daughter a little while ago and told her that I was interviewing you, and she was so happy and giggly.
Shout out to Kenyatta.
Yes. So let's start from the beginning. Growing up in Southeast Queens with a mother who worked as a social worker, what early experiences shaped your passion for community service and advocacy?
I would definitely say growing up, seeing my mom be in service to other people was really inspiring to me to not just make money to make money, but make money while being of service to others was something that was of interest. Also, growing up in the community, wanting to help. I've always just wanted to help people. I didn't know how, but I always knew I wanted to do something to help people. Really shaped my interest in being in a space to do that.
Before stepping into elected office, you built a reputation as an activist and political strategist. What inspired that transition from advocacy to policymaker?
So originally I thought I wanted to work in nonprofits, working for a nonprofit that was doing something in a particular field of interest, whether it was child welfare or fighting poverty or criminal justice reform. Those were the areas I was interested in. But when I went to grad school and I got my master's, I also got the opportunity to work for the New York State Legislature. And while I was there, I realized so much of the things that I wanted to see happen in the community, it didn't need to happen through nonprofit work. In fact, if we were more active and advocated for things within our legislative spaces, that real change could happen. And so I started to become more interested in government and how to leverage and work within government to change the things that I found were issues. I'm really passionate about, income inequality. And so seeing how government can help or harm that particular issue was something that really drew me to the space. And that's kind of how I got into politics or politricks.
Politics, yes, politics. Some people call it that. You worked on national movements such as like the Women's March,
Yeah.
And local initiatives here in Queens, New York. How did those experiences prepare you for the challenges of the New York City Council?
Ooh. I don't think anybody has ever asked me that, but one of the things
This is Corey's Corner, Councilwoman.
I think one of the things I say all the time when I am faced with challenges right now today, and I think about the things that I've done in the past, I would say I've always been a busy person. I've always been in spaces with a lot going on, and having to overcome challenges within those spaces. I feel like it's taught me tenacity, and it's taught me how to manage many things at once and still have impact. And so just, working on a national effort, having to coordinate a big thing. It was, one of the largest single day marches in history, to doing things within the community that requires organizing. It requires collaboration. So just my ability to be a problem solver, and also my ability to engage with others in real ways is what I feel has prepared me to be where I'm at today in the council.
Okay, on Corey's Corner, we kind of go off script sometimes.
Okay.
So I have to go off script because today is election day.
Oh yeah, it's election day.
And
we're here.
Prior to coming to the show to interview you, I was on the phone with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm interviewing Councilwoman Nantasha Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what they just said to me?
What did they say?
I just voted for her.
Oh, thank you. Shout out to that person that voted for me.
And I'm
I appreciate
like,
your vote.
Wait, she's interviewing with me during the election? So that could mean two things. Either you're crazy or you're gangster. Like, I got this in the bag. And I'm going to go with the latter. Gangster. I love it. I love your figure.
Well, I don't.
So hold on. Let me just,
right.
So the audience know we do tape. So this won't come out for like 2 weeks, but it is election day in New York City. And my sister will win. And she's a gangster because she's interviewing while people are counting ballots.
So, to be fair, I don't have a race. So this is...
you're running unopposed?
I'm running unopposed.
Okay.
So...
You're still a gangster, though.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's my last term. If I have done you well in the community, vote for me. Thank you. If you want me out, listen, it's a democracy, so it's going to be what it's going to be. But I feel really confident. I mean, I feel like I've been able to deliver so much in the last 4 years. I can't see why I would not be reelected. So, I do have confidence that, I'm good.
You got this. And I'm not going to lie to you. When we spoke a few weeks ago, and I was like, I need to get you on the show. And you was like, election day is the best day for me. Just do. And in my mind, I was like, why is she telling me election day?
Because I have a free day.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So public service can be demanding and personal.
Mm-hmm.
Who or what has been your greatest source of
wow.
motivation throughout your journey?
I would say my roller coaster ride with exercise. I think I started off in the council exercising. I stopped. I started, I've gone to yoga here and there throughout my tenure. And so just being able to find a place for a refuge in terms of physical activity. I will say having a therapist throughout this time has also been really helpful, especially during times that were mentally taxing. To be able to talk to somebody about that in unbiased fashion, I feel has been very helpful. And then my family. I have such a supportive mother and a whole cadre of friends who are like family that anytime I need something, or I don't even have to tell them to do things. Sometimes they're there to support me.
You just mentioned every politician comes on here mention that they're going through therapy.
That should tell you
I
something.
remember Jamani Williams.
Yeah.
He said that he's going through therapy. I actually meet with a therapist every 2 weeks. Every 2 Thursdays, I actually meet with a therapist. And it's not really machismo for black males to admit that they see a therapist. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying this here on Corey's Corner. This is good stuff. So hopefully the people that's out there are not afraid to sit down and throw stuff at somebody who's unbiased. So I think all the politicians must have a therapist. Everyone I speak to, they told me they're sitting down with one.
Yeah, it's a tough, thankless job. And, it doesn't matter how mentally fit you are. It weighs on you. And so being able to find those spaces that can help to regenerate the weight, I think is important.
That's beautiful. Mm-hmm. So you founded New York Black Women's Political Club.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know doing research. To build power for black women.
Yes.
What progress have you seen since its creation, and what challenges still remain?
The progress that I've seen is the fact that we have been able to create that space. Though that space really didn't exist locally. I feel like there are spaces nationally, regionally, but hyper local in New York City. I don't think there was a space for black women to come together to talk about how to build political and community power. There might be a black women's group to discuss many other things, but not necessarily how to build political and community power. And, the progress that I've seen is women feeling supported and knowing that there's a place that they can come to if they, want to have a question answered. Or we focused a lot. We realized, speaking of therapy, we realized that so many of the women who might be doing the work in community or, doing the public service work also don't have the best self-care practices, and being able to support women through their journeys to help them sort of rejuvenate themselves to continue to do the work is something that I feel has been a success with the club. And that's something that we focused on, which wasn't the start of the focus, but we realized, and there's a Audre Lorde quote that I'm probably going to mess up, but it says something to the tune of caring for yourself is the highest form of, political revolution. To actually take the time to care for yourself, to make sure you're good, especially as people of color. Because historically, going back to like slavery, for us to have time for ourselves, like our bodies were commodity. We were owned by people. So this idea that you're going to actually find the time to go to therapy, you're going to actually find the time to just sit and think, or find the time to go on a vacation is really like radical. It's a radical act for black people, especially black women.
Right. How can people get involved in that political club?
They can go online. So it's the NYC, the webpage is nycbwpc.com. And so they can go online, and there's all the information is there. You can sign up to become a member. In transparency, when I became a council member, I had to step down officially from the board. Mm-hmm. So I'm not as active the last couple of years because of my role in the council, but they gave me a fancy title, President Emeritus, so I'm always welcome there. But playing a little distant role because of my role in the council.
Okay, that's great. Representation matters.
Yeah.
What does authentic leadership look like to you in government today? Because government, if we look at nationally, it's kind of crazy.
It's crazy, but this is like probably controversial, provocative. Is I think Trump is an authentic leader. I think he shows up exactly.
You got my
how he is.
I'm totally with you. He told us when he came down the escalator what he was,
he did.
who he's gonna be.
He did.
Mexicans, y'all getting out of here. Everybody going like black people. He said it.
Mm-hmm.
So
even thinking about that and how I think about authentic leadership, especially when it comes to the community, not necessarily like within my office and the people who work with me, but just how I lead in the community is through transparency. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you if I don't know something. I'm going to
Right.
tell you, if it's no. I'm not going to necessarily, because sometimes I have realized, learning, it's my 4th year, that sometimes, you can tell people the truth, but maybe you have to tell them the truth in a different type of way, a way that demonstrates some form of discernment and emotional intelligence. But I feel like for me as a council member, I try not to do the typical elected official thing, even though, depending on who you talk to, I'm just like everybody else. But what I feel like I try to do and what authentic leadership looks like to me is having honest conversations with community members and not pacifying them, and being able to deliver and being able to back up what you say and being transparent and accessible, to me, is authentic leadership.
As one of the youngest and most dynamic voices
That's nice.
on the council, how do you balance the expectations of being both the change maker and the bridge builder?
These are really good questions.
Oh, yeah. This is Corey's corner.
And the reason why I say they're good questions is because it's things that I've thought about, but no one has ever really asked me about, if that makes sense. I've thought a lot about how to be a change maker and a bridge builder because of my experience first coming into the council. So I wasn't supported by any of the local elected officials or, the local establishment. No, I was not. I was...
Why do you think? Because you was young?
Well, there was just a lot of people in the race that had a lot of attachments. You had one person
right.
that, is practically,
son-in-laws.
You had another person who worked for the former council member and the former council member. And so, you had one person who, and to be honest, every single person, I say this all the time, I feel like I've been consistent for the last 4 years, is everybody that ran in the race, a lot of the people that ran in the race with me, they were like dope people. They weren't, sometimes you see campaigns and you're like, okay, everybody is corny and completely not qualified, and you just kind of know that person's gonna win. In my race, I honestly, I say this all the time, there were some really smart people, connected people in my race, and I think it just made it tricky for people. And I'm somewhat of an outsider. I never really worked directly for elected officials in Queens. I'm born and raised here, but what does that mean when I've been away in undergrad and grad school in Albany? They say all politics is local. Well, I haven't been local, for the council race, I was more local, but, I ran for the assembly seat. I wasn't local at all. I just moved back home. And so that's another thing. I, ran for the assembly seat, lost that seat, and then, started working locally, and people kept asking me, you should run, you should run again. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And so, I think that's why people didn't support me. But to your question, because I feel like I just went on a whole tangent.
No,
I wasn't supported from the institution. And so, I was like an inside outsider. I knew the people because I worked in government, but I didn't know the people.
Right.
And in politics, trust and knowing somebody, and then even Southeast Queens, I feel like the expectation is even higher. I joke all the time, and I'll say it publicly. I say, we're an incestuous community. If you're not our cousins, we don't know you, we don't like you, we don't want to mess with you. And it's real, because it's like, who are you, and who's your grandmother, and what church they went to. And so, I think people felt like the change maker piece, like, oh, she's young, she's dynamic, she has all these cool ideas, she's gonna come and just completely forget what came before her, completely forget us, the people who have been used to access in these particular seats. And so, I balance that by humbling myself sometimes, being the bigger person to have the conversation, creating space for people to collaborate with me, because sometimes, if people don't know that they could collaborate with you, you kind of have to proactively create that space for them to collaborate with you, creating those opportunities, reaching across to have these conversations, unpacking issues, things happen during races, but I do feel like I've been able to do that pretty much by humbling myself. And I've always been a person that respects institutions and respects history. I love history as like just the academic. I love to learn what has happened before. And my love for history allows me to be able to build bridges with people even when there's differences, because I try to focus on the work. And so, not completely dismantling something that might have happened, 10 years before me, but maybe just working to put some tweaks on it to make it better.
Well, I'm here to tell you, I really, really thought the son-in-law was going to win because of no. I mean,
shout out,
and it's just because of the like he got the big dog on his side, and you came through, and it was like
men lie, women lie, numbers don't. That's how I feel about it.
The numbers don't lie. You took down a big dog.
Yeah, I got a high percentage too.
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
and very happy, and you've been doing a wonderful job. So, listen, sometimes it just takes people. You got to get in there, and then people can see what you do, and they're like, "Oh, forget all the other minutia."
Yeah, not holding grudges and not having hard feelings too is a way that I've been able to navigate wanting to be innovative and make change, but also working to push past things that people die off of being offended. Wars start because somebody gets offended by something that someone did versus figuring out what are those things that you have in common and what the collective goal is.
Let me tell you, you've been very instrumental in bringing major investments to Southeast Queens, from rebuilding parks, revitalizing the Jamaica area. What project are you most proud of and why? And hold on, before you answer that, I'm born and bred. This is Queens, We got my man Soup in the audience. Listen, we Queens. I don't know what y'all doing to our Jamaica, but it's Jamaica Avenue, but it looks like it's going to be called downtown Jamaica, because it's almost reminding me of Brooklyn. If you're in Brooklyn, you've been in Brooklyn. If you ride down Myrtle Avenue going toward the Brooklyn Bridge, you would think you're in Manhattan. Have you ever took that street?
Yes.
But it's not Manhattan. It's the Brooklyn skyline that you're looking at.
I know.
And that's all I could think about in Jamaica Avenue.
Well, it's not going to go that high because those buildings are really, really high. There's some height limitations in Jamaica, but in comparison to what's there, it is much higher, much dense than what we're familiar with. What you see now isn't something that came from me. Okay. These buildings were already in development. Now, one of the projects that recently I'm most proud of is the Jamaica Neighborhood Plan. You talked about Jamaica, so we might as well talk about the Jamaica Neighborhood Plan.
Right.
And whether or not we do anything about housing, communities change over time. I tell people all the time, Queens, was full of white people at a point. There was no black people there.
That's right.
It was full of Black Americans, and now majority of people that live here are Caribbeans. And so communities change over time, whether or not you do something about it. And you ask anybody in New York City, what is the number one issue in New York City? They're going to say housing. And I do believe, which is a little, it's where I slightly depart from some of my wonderful, lovely constituents who are afraid of density, that we have to do our part just a little bit. No, you don't want to see a 10-story building next door to your single family house. And what can we do to protect that? But if we're talking downtown Jamaica or one of the commercial corridors, I think there's a conversation to be had about how we at least create an opportunity for people to build housing, because that is legitimately the number one issue in New York City. People either cannot find housing or they can't afford housing. And so, through the Jamaica Neighborhood Plan, both early negotiations last year, when we were working on the City of Yes package, to the recent negotiations, I was able to secure close to, $700+ million for the community to address many different type of things. And so it wasn't just about housing, but I don't shy away from that because this project is designed to help and spur to build affordable housing, but it's also about other community investments that are so important. Right now, when you go on the Ave, either you go in there for work, maybe you might go there. I mean, when the movie theater was there, maybe you went there to kind of go to the movie theater. Some people might go to JCal or JPAC if somebody kids is in a dance program or something like that. Maybe the people that live there, they come home and they sleep. But I always envisioned Jamaica being a place where you don't just go to work, you don't just, maybe go to the movie theater when it was there or JCal, but that you also can do all of those things in one place. And why can't it be like that? I always hate that we have to go further deeper into Queens or further deeper in Long Island or drive all the way to Manhattan just to do something that I feel is a really simple thing. So that's just my vision for it. And I know it's controversial to some people, not all people, but I do feel like communities change over time in general. And this is not necessarily going to be the thing that is a part of why the community is changing now. The demographics right now, the last 10 years, my council district used to have close to 70+% on the higher margin of 70% Black people. This recent census is 60% Black people. So Black population dropped almost 10 to 15%. And the populations that have increased is the South Asian community. And believe it or not, because I don't think people realize this, and I have to tell myself this multiple times, is we also have a sizable Latino population.
Yes.
So, and that didn't require anything at all. That just required the natural transition of people moving in and out of a community. Right.
Well, listen, please don't get rid of margaritas. Even though I'm a Gabby's guy, I do margaritas second. I'll take it second.
I think margaritas would be fine.
But let me tell you, public advocate Jemani Williams was on here. Actually, I think he was the first guest. And he said the exact same thing that you said about housing. Like, get over it. We have to build housing. We have to build housing in New York City. Yeah. So you're the second one that said that. It's great. All right. My next question was the Jamaica neighborhood plan. And you just killed it. Okay.
Well, what was the question?
The Jamaica neighborhood plan has the potential to reshape the community. How you ensuring local residents, not developers, remain the center of the vision.
So something else, I can talk a little bit more about the plan. Something else that was really important to me within the plan is getting money for something that we could call a displacement fund. So we know with the natural change of communities, again, right now, which has nothing to do with the Jamaican neighborhood plan, you can't really afford to purchase a house.
No. And all my friends selling their houses in Queens going down south, and it's boring down there. They stay down there for a year, and they want to come back, and they outpriced. They can't get back.
They can't get their house back. So one, it's difficult right now to stay in your home and buy a home in the community because a lot of the homes are old, passed down. So people don't have the money to fix roofs and, get new sewer. Like, people don't have money for that stuff. Right. And so, one of the things that we have is a displacement fund. So that's designed to help tenants. There are lots of tenants that live closer to, the Ave, as we call it. And for the homeowners, we don't want to leave them out. For homeowners who are struggling with foreclosure, we really are trying to look at ways to support them as well. So this displacement fund was really important to me because I wanted to make sure that we were able to assist people in staying in their homes now, not 10 to 15 years from now, because the Jamaican neighborhood plan is not something for now. Right. We won't see the results of the Jamaican neighborhood plan until 10 to 15 years from now. Right. But I still wanted to be able to help people right now, if you're a tenant or if you're a homeowner, if you're struggling to stay in your place of residence, that there is support that can be provided to you to assist.
Great. You're a real change maker. You're doing some good things. I see big offers for you.
Yeah, that's big what the people say. I'd be like, no, thank you.
No, you're going for it. Just don't forget the little people. You better always come to Corey's Corner every step of the way. Okay. Now, Southeast Queens has also faced infrastructure challenges such as flooding, transit, and housing. Well, what are your top priorities for addressing these issues moving forward? You kind of beat up housing, but like the flooding and transit. Like,
so we can go back to the Jamaican neighborhood plan again. And the biggest, a lot of the money that I was able to negotiate with the mayor's side was money for sewer infrastructure. So I don't know if you remember a few years back, actually in the Speaker's District, there was a sanitary sewage backup.
Yes.
That's because our current sanitary line is backed up. So Queens is unlike any other place in New York City. We have two sanitary lines. We have two sewer lines. We have a sanitary line and we have a regular stormwater or sometimes regular sewer drainage system. And our sanitary line is at capacity. So if you think about adding new buildings to, this particular area on the same sewer line, you're going to have similar issues. So, it was important to me to say to the mayor's side, well, if you want to build more housing, don't you think you need to fix the sewer line? Because we're currently at capacity and we've had documented issues of, this concern. So, I was excited to get like $300 million specifically for sewer infrastructure. We also have an issue unique. Some certain other areas have it, but quite unique in Southeast Queens. We have groundwater flooding, which has nothing to do with rain, has nothing to do with the sanitary line. There is just water beneath the surface. And that water beneath the surface for many institutions, homeowners tends to back up in your basements because it has nowhere else to go. And so I was also able to get funding to support some institutions in our community who are struggling and have been struggling for almost 2 decades with groundwater flooding. And I also passed a bill that creates a task force, a flood adaptation task force, to really figure out, one, identify the breadth of the problem and make it public to the community. Because to date, there has been pretty much no public information about this particular issue that my constituents are facing. And so this task force is really designed to understand the issue and work within various city agencies to figure out resources, support for people who are dealing with this groundwater flooding issue. So those are some of the things I've been able to do. I feel like there's always more work to be done, but I was talking my talk the other day and I was like, you know what? I don't really need to do anything else. I need to leave something for my successor, because if I'm funding all of these other things, what's going to be left for them to fund? Right. So I feel like, there's always more, and I always feel like, they could have gave me more. Oh, I should have asked them. I always feel that way, but I know that I've actually been able to deliver a lot of money to the community, whether it be through the Jamaican neighborhood plan or my other conversations and negotiations throughout the last 4 years, to really invest in not just the 27th Council District, but Southeast Queens.
Yeah, you very adamant about doing well. You're a pit bull in negotiations. I could tell. Pit bull. Let me put you on the spot.
Okay.
Today's election day. Who's winning?
That's a really on-the-spot question.
It's Corey's Corner. They're not going to know for 2 weeks.
So this is going to be interesting to watch back. So, I think Zoran is good. I will say I've been having a lot of interesting conversations outside of the bubble. Because when you in it like this, you're in a bubble. Sometimes you really just got to go speak to the person on the corner and ask them a question, because most of the time they know better anyway. And based off of a few conversations I've been having, I'm like, Cuomo just might do better than I think people are expecting him to do. And the fact that people are saying this and I'm hearing this is a little concerning. But, I'm going to be confident and say that the current Democratic nominee, Zoran Mamdani, is going to win. But I will say the last couple of weeks, they've ramped up a lot of the hit pieces and attacks and crazy ads. And just, one-on-one conversations that I've been having with certain people, I've been a little, shocked by some of the things that they were saying. And it did make me think, maybe he's going to be closer than people think. And the fact that he might be closer than people think is interesting.
It is. I'm so glad you brought this up, because I'm a Democrat, registered Democrat, always been a Democrat. Why can't the Democrats come together? Let me tell you something. I don't like Trump, but I love his gangster. Trump says this is what it is, Every Republican fall in line.
Yeah.
And I already know 65% of them don't even agree with him.
Yeah.
But they toe the line.
Yeah.
Obama had the White House, he had the Senate, he had the House, and Democrats always want to play nice. Let's play nice.
Mm-hmm.
Trump got the House, Senate. Ain't no playing nice. Republicans don't play nice. They know, like when I was a police commander, you know that. And so I have power. So you give me juice, I'm drinking it. I'm not putting it in the refrigerator. But in politics, Democrats want to put their juice in the refrigerator. No, you got to drink the juice. Why is that? Why y'all can't just toe the line like the Republicans?
Yeah, it's a question this is actually a question that comes up a lot. And, internal conversations a ton of times, just comparing the parties. And I think it's just political party culture. Republican Party has always been a very unified party, even when they were divided. They still had this level of cohesiveness to them, and that is just, I think, the culture of the Republican Party. The Democratic Party has been it's been I don't want to say a mess. That sounds so bad. I'm trying to be positive, politically correct, but it's been a hodgepodge.
Okay,
right?
We'll take that.
A hodgepodge.
Google that.
Or I don't know. I think I had another word. Whatever. We'll take hodgepodge. It's been like a hodgepodge of many different type of things. People always say like the Democratic Party is Big Tent. Like everybody gets thrown in there.
Right.
It's like, it's like the abortion issue, the, LGBTQIA, you got, people of color, it just, everything gets thrown into the Democratic Party, and people argue it's a little harder to maintain a big tent of a whole bunch of different type of things. And, very simply, I just think it's political party culture. The Republican Party has always operated in this way for the most part. In modern political history, I think that the Republican Party has always operated in this way. And what we see now, to me, is a reflection of that structure and that pecking order that they've just been really consistent and good about. I mean, not to talk about local politics, but locally here in New York City, they may not all be getting along. And maybe you might see a thing in the press, but they're going to all come out together and be on the same type of time. And it's always something that I also personally have admired about that political party, because they are on message almost all the time.
Yeah,
almost all the time. There's been some splintering, though.
Yeah,
like Marjorie Taylor Greene has been interesting.
A little bit.
But, it's yeah.
A little bit. But they toe the line. I really appreciate your transparency and honesty about that. And you gave a great, great answer. Now, we're at the most fun part of Corey's Corner, the Spitfire round. Councilwoman, I'm going to ask you 10 questions. Okay. Rapid fire questions. I need yes or no answers or one word answers.
Okay.
You ready?
I think so.
You need to take a sip. You
sure,
good?
Let me take a sip, because what are you going to ask me?
This is good stuff. You ready?
Yes.
Coffee or tea?
I'm such a yes and person. Both. Can I say that? That's not allowed?
No, this is not Drink Champs. You either have to say yes or no, or pick one of them, okay?
I guess I'll say coffee, but I'm more of a tea drinker. But recently coffee, so coffee.
Okay. Favorite New York City borough besides Queens?
That's a good one. I like Brooklyn.
I love Brooklyn.
Yeah, Brooklyn's a good time. I hate to admit it though, because they just Brooklyn just think they the best borough ever, and they're just always so loud. Brooklyn, like, okay, nobody cares, we get it. Okay, calm down, guys.
You get my engineer mad. You gotta watch.
Like, relax, calm down, we get it. Like Biggie, Jay, cool story, bro. Like, it's just a lot, but. Because I'm a real Queens girl. But, I do love Brooklyn.
Okay.
I hate to admit it, but I do love Brooklyn.
The song that gets you motivated in the morning?
I don't listen to music in the morning. I like soca music. I like upbeat, fun
soca?
Music. Yeah.
Okay.
Pick a fun soca song.
My man, the #1 soca artist in the world. What's his name?
Oh, Masho.
Yes!
Work so hard every week. Explicit, boy. We deserve a party.
And I'm very American, so that's how you know.
Oh my God! So I was police
pick
commander.
one of those type of songs from him, from Mr. Montana.
When he would perform in back of the Brooklyn Museum for Labor Day.
Oh yeah, it's still crazy.
It was insane.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable. Dream dinner guest, past or present. It could be somebody dead or alive.
Maybe like Oprah.
Oprah, okay,
Mm-hmm.
nice. I want to go to dinner with her too. It just ain't work out. But I did go on her friend's show, Alana Van Zant, Fix My Life. She wasn't fixing my life. They brought me on as an expert, and then Alana was acting like she was trying to fix my life. I had to put her in check. But y'all can Google that. Y'all can look at that episode and see. Say, hey, you paid me to be here. You ain't going off on me. I'm trying to help these people. But one word to describe leadership.
Selfless.
If you weren't in politics, what would you be doing?
I'm trying to figure out if, again, I want to say the politically correct thing or...
No, we want the raunchy. What would you be doing if you wasn't in politics?
A philanthropist with someone else's money.
I believe you.
Mm-hmm.
Most underrated spot in Southeast Queens.
Oh, it's not underrated, but I really do love Good Taste. The restaurant, the Haitian
Which
restaurant.
one?
Good Taste.
Oh, okay. Where's that at?
It's on Linden, by the post office.
Okay, all right. The best advice you ever received?
Don't take anything personal, even when it is personal.
My next question is actually a quote or mantra you live by.
I feel like the Audre Lorde quote I mentioned earlier, just, this idea of like self-care is a revolutionary act. I just like that one.
Last Spitfire question. An island you have not visited?
I have not visited the Cayman Islands.
Cayman Islands. Okay, thank you for participating in this Spitfire round. Appreciate it.
What's poppin'? I'm Samson Styles, writer, director, producer, documentarian, and right now you're listening to Corey's Corner, where he always keeps it right, not real.
Do you think that people could reach self-actualization?
I do, but it requires a lot of privilege to have the time to sit there and actualize yourself. I actually did a 10-day silent retreat before. And 10 days, no phones, no nothing. You can't speak, you can't write.
I'll be dead.
Yeah, and there are people there. There was one lady there that she was doing 30 days. You can do 60 days. And so, yeah, if you have the money and resources to be in a facility for 60 days, not speaking and meditating and just literally in your because just imagine, we have so many distractions.
Yes.
And we have, the retreat taught me a lot about distractions. You have big distractions like the TV, phone.
And you did 10
people,
days?
10 days. But then you have distractions on your body that oftentimes you don't even feel because you have all these other things going on. So when you actually have nothing else going on, you start to feel like these tickly like sensations that is like, and those sensations are always there, but you're so distracted with everything you don't even notice that. So yeah, to me, self-actualization is like, you can achieve it, but it takes a lot of time to do that. And most people don't have the privilege to like check out of life. Because you have to check out of this life. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, you have to live as a monk, right? And so if you don't have the time and that ain't your lifestyle, you're not living as a monk damn near in poverty, or you ain't privileged and rich, so you got the resources to literally not have to check into real world, then it's difficult, but anything is possible. But I do believe people can achieve it. I just think that you need a lot of time to do it.
Nice. Love it. Before we jump back in, I want to talk about something that's close to my heart. My 3-time award-winning book, Once a Cop, The Street, The Law, Two Worlds, One Man, which actually was turned into a feature documentary. It's streaming on Hulu and Apple TV, called A Cops and Robbers Story. It basically details my life of a misguided kid and graduating to become the person that I am today. If you get an opportunity or chance, make sure you purchase the book and or watch the feature film. Shout out to Corrupt Mob for loaning us this spacious, nice studio where we film Corey's Corner. Corrupt Mob, respect the mob, where brotherhood meets the road. #1 motorcycle club in Southeast Queens. Now word from our sponsors.
This episode of Corey's Corner is sponsored by Jeff Hunt Traditional Shotokan Karate, where confidence and discipline meet excellence. Sensei Jeff Hunt offers beginner and advanced karate classes for children and adults, plus adult kickboxing, all designed to build real confidence, strong health, and practical self-defense. Since 1996, the school has focused on character, academic excellence, and the belief that focus plus discipline equals success. Summer programs and private instruction are available. Call 7-189-77-1500 or visit 22713 Merrick Boulevard, Laurelton, Queens to begin your journey.
What impact do you hope this legislation will have on city culture?
I hope that this legislation, at the very least, allows people to be more self-aware, because anti-racism work is a journey. You know, you don't wake up, do one training, and suddenly not be a racist person. Like, this stuff is learned behavior over a period of time, and the awareness, to me, is the first step. And what this legislation did, which didn't happen before, they would have some type of trainings here and there, not necessarily mandated, but it requires this every year. So this isn't just you get this training and you don't have to do it ever again. No, you might need a refresher the next year. And so the consistency, I do feel and hope that it has more impacts on how all of our city workers treat people that they are dealing with and treat themselves.
I love that you're doing the checks and balances, not just a one-off, because you know most of these trainings is one-offs. Yeah. So like I was a cop, took the test, sat down with a psychologist. You know the next time I spoke to one? For never. I did 21 years, and I never spoke to a psychologist again. Like, it's crazy. Now, I worked at some of the most violent priests in the city. I seen a guy, he cut his wife head off, he cut his daughter head off, he cut his son head off. These stuff. We didn't go see a psychiatrist. I saw people shot. I saw people killed. I saw all kind of crazy stuff. One off. So I'm glad that you're doing that. And I'm telling you something about policing that you should probably be pushing in your next.
Well, maybe they change it, because I did ask an officer the other day who, observed something. I was like, did you go see somebody, or did they ask you? And she said, yeah, they asked. I declined. So maybe it should be mandated.
It should be so
because
listen,
I know they asked. She said, well, they asked, but I declined. Scale. I told them it was fine. I didn't really need to talk to them.
On a low scale, 20 years to retirement. Every 4 years, sit down.
Just to check in.
Just to check in.
I like that.
A debrief.
New bill alert.
Well, you better make sure it's Corey's Corner bill when you
I
name
will.
it. All right.
Yes. I will. It could be Corey's bill.
Exactly. Now you've worked close with Until Freedom and Life Camp. These are violence interrupter groups, right? What strategies have proven most effective at saving lives and building trust? Now I must say to you that I have my reservations about the violence interrupters, and
most cops do.
No. This ain't even a cop thing. This is a common sense thing. I grew up with a lot of the people that's a part of it. My only thing is checks and balances. When you're telling me, there hasn't been somebody shot in 4 months in this catchment zone. I was a police guru. I ran some of the most violent precincts, and I was in the streets. Sold a lot of drugs. I carried guns. I know gangsters ain't shooting if they ain't got nobody to shoot. So in 4 months, my whole thing with violence interrupters is what's the checks and balances? All right, because they're going to say it wasn't no shooting in 4 months in that catchment zone. And I'm going to say, as a police guru, all right, you taking credit for this? Yeah, we taking credit for it. Give me everybody's phone. Let me go up on their phones. I need to know when they was out there. What times were they out there? Because now I got Nantasha's phone. I'm looking at your phone. You in the house every night at 8 o'clock. You was in Puerto Rico. You was in Puerto Rico. You was in Jamaica. You was in Jamaica. Like, that's the only thing. I think they're doing good work. I'm just saying they get millions of dollars. So there has to be, you got to really drill it down.
I'm telling you, I had the same conversation with a police officer last month, and he said the same thing. His issue was the checks and balances and accountability, because he felt like officers are held to a high standard of accountability.
Yes,
and he was like, his issue is that he doesn't feel like there's any accountability. And is there space for reform? This wasn't your question, but is there space for reforming the crisis management system? Yes. I actually passed a bill that required them to produce reports. It required the city agencies to actually do evaluations.
Right.
The CMS groups fought me on it because they didn't want the oversight.
Right.
So, I mean, I have a healthy tension with them, because I do appreciate the work that they do, and I do find value in the work. I do feel that there is a lot of space to professionalize the work, to make the work more technical, and that requires oversight. It requires a real commitment to data entry and data analysis, to your point. You're talking about phones and places and where you are versus shootings versus catchment area, and what does that all mean, and then what strategies were employed that you can directly connect to maybe a decrease in shootings, and how can we and so this was your question. So for me, I feel like how can we reduce challenges, social inequity, social challenges within communities? I think that's the best thing we can do. We have to understand why someone would even pick up a gun in the first place. Why? Why do they think that's a thing that they are supposed to be doing? And, we tend to be, as government bodies, reactionary. And I feel like the best tools is dismantling things from a proactive lens so they don't become problems at all.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
And I think we're on the same page with some of that stuff. Your advocacy in the Breonna Taylor case touched people nationwide. How do you stay grounded while fighting for justice on such an emotionally charged issue?
Yes. I realize that I just do things and don't realize why I'm doing it until I'm there. And I'm like, okay, I did it. I just do it. And so I remember speaking to Tamika, shout outs to Until Freedom, and they're like, we're going to occupy.
Tamika, love you, sis.
We're going to occupy Louisville. And I'm like, okay. I mean, it was the height of the pandemic. People were home, so it's not like I had a place to be. And I always want to be in spaces, again, to help, to be a part of some type of effort to address injustice. And I would say what was helpful there is community. It was that I wasn't there by myself, that it was a community of people all there in solidarity, working towards seeking justice for this woman who was gunned down in her sleep. So, I would say community and being in solidarity with people is what has been helpful.
Okay. You recently graduated with your PhD studies focusing on social movements and racial justice, right? How does your academic work inform your policy decisions? First of all, I gotta congratulate you. I'm so very proud of you that you are continuing your education to enhance yourself. I love it. Keep going, sis. Little niece.
So I would say, these type of advanced degrees, unless they're technical, like if you're going to be a doctor, that's like a technical thing.
Right.
Like a medical doctor, not a PhD doctor. They really just teach you how to think. They sharpen your critical thinking skills, and those soft skills sometimes go under the radar, but especially in today's societies, those soft skills, the ability to think critically, is so important. And so how it's been helpful is just the tools, and then I'll talk to the tools. It's just the tools of understanding what I'm seeing. If I'm looking at a report, being able to say, well, what was the method you used to study this data? And just being more of an informed elected official. It's not just me seeing something because somebody told me something, but being able to bring my own knowledge and my own technical expertise to really analyze something in a way that maybe somebody else wouldn't. And so that's how I feel like that is the biggest help that it's been, just my ability to really delve deeper into issues. Elected officials, and I love to say this is my favorite line being an elected official, we are not experts by nature. We're generalists, and half the time we might know a thing if we're really passionate about that thing, but elected officials are generalists and we're reactionary. And so, you know, when you're a generalist, it doesn't really, you don't have the capacity to delve into issues in real deep ways. And so I always say that having a PhD allows me to delve into things in deeper ways.
Listen, I'm totally with you. I was a professor at two different colleges, Monroe College and Medgar Evers College. And going through my master's, I used to be like I thought I was such a dummy taking statistics. I thought I never was going to pass that class. It was so hard. But I remember after graduating, I really understood, like you said, on a higher scale, it helps you with critical thinking. That's why I tell my kids about college, like, yeah, you studying business administration, you don't know what you're going to do, but if you're going for a job with somebody that don't have a degree and you have one, you're going to be able to critically think more than, and obviously as you get higher from a bachelor's to a master's to a PhD, critical thinking is the key. Don't ever forget what Councilwoman Williams just said. Critical thinking, that's what education is for. You might not get the job you want, but you will be able to critically think and probably think your way into the job. Now, Southeast Queens has such a rich history of civic pride. What do you want your legacy to be in that story?
I want my legacy to be one where people really felt a part of the process. So many people don't trust government. They don't believe in government. They feel detached. They don't feel a part of the process. And for many ways, it's because the system was designed that way. And so, you know, I would love for people to remember me as someone who brought people into the public deliberation process, that they actually did feel like they played a role in what is happening in their community. And I think that that's just the missing civic engagement piece. People are very detached and disengaged from civics. And again, I think it's learned behavior. We don't have what I feel are effective civic courses in high school. So it's not something that, you know, young people get taught in any real ways, and then they become adults. And, you know, if this isn't something that they're personally interested in, or if their family didn't value a particular thing, you know, they are disengaged from the process. And people being engaged in solving problems, to me, is the winning strategy. Government can't do things alone. And so ensuring that people feel empowered to be a part of the solution is something that I hope is my legacy.
Great. That's a great legacy. We got two more questions. For the next generation, especially young Black women watching your journey, what's the one piece of advice you give to them about stepping into leadership? Because it's tough as a woman, and then you throw on some Black skin, it's probably even tougher. So what advice would you give to young Black women looking to step into your shoes in leadership?
I would say, like, a similar question people ask is, you know, what would you say to your younger self? And I would say, like, don't take things that serious. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I took a lot of things, like, serious. And now that I'm older, I'm like, yeah, that wasn't really that serious. And when I say things, it could be something that somebody said to you that might have hurt your feelings, or, you know, your past, or, you know, challenges that you might currently have as a young woman. And those challenges, you overcome those challenges. And over time, you realize that what felt like such a big thing, and maybe you spend a lot of energy on that big thing, really, like hindsight, really wasn't that serious. And so not sweating the small stuff, and not over analyzing challenges as an indication to your future success.
Last question. What's next for Councilwoman Nantasha Williams?
I'm trying to get a job.
You got a job already.
I'm trying to get a job. I mean,
You already got a job.
We're term limited, so I only have 4 more years in the council. You know, a wise friend told me, if you don't know what you want to do, at least figure out what you don't want to do. And so, yes, I always keep an open mind to other political positions if it's right. You know, politics is about opportunity, but I also very much so have a very expansive view of what I want my life to be. And do I want to be working 7 days a week for the rest of my life? I don't know if I want that life. You know, would I rather be doing something in the academic space, or, you know, tapping into what I thought I wanted to do when I first got out of undergrad, which is maybe going to the nonprofit space or maybe going to a private space, maybe. And so I keep my options open. I know I don't want to be a mayor. I don't want to be a public advocate. I don't want to be an assembly member. And so other political positions, we keep them open if opportunities present themselves. But I also feel very strongly about going to a new chapter. You know, this was a nice run. I did it. I was an elected official, and I have many interests and open to other things that could be a possibility for me outside of the political space.
What I see for you is greatness. All of those things are nice what you said, but I could see you being a big time lobbyist, because you got this. I think you could open up your own lobbying firm and do some good things for people that's looking to, you know, work with city government, because you got it. Now, before we wrap, is there anything you'd like to share with the people that I didn't ask you, or, you know, something I forgot?
No, I don't have anything to add. Just thank you for a very open, transparent conversation. I like I said many times, I don't get to answer a lot of these questions. I just appreciate you for a great conversation.
Yeah, I appreciate you also. Can you let the people know how to find you? I guess your city council.
Yes. So if you want to find me on Facebook or Instagram, you can go to CM Nantasha Williams, and we are right on 172-12 Linden Boulevard. So you can also pull up on us in person, and you can email us if you want at district27@council.nyc.gov.
Councilwoman Williams, thank you for joining us today and for everything you do with purpose, integrity, and vision. Southeast Queens and all of New York City are better because of it. Don't forget to check out Jeff Hunt Traditional Shotokan Karate right here in Lawton, Queens. Thank you, Councilwoman, for coming. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
For our listeners, if you found value in today's episode, make sure you follow, subscribe, and support. This has been another episode of Corey's Corner. Until next time, keep pushing, keep grinding, and remember, it's not where you start, it's always about where you finish. I'm Corey Pegues, and I always keep it right, not real. Peace.
Special thanks to our executive producer, our engineers, and much respect to Corrupt Mob for making Corey's Corner possible.
Once a cop, let it knock, yeah. I for one think we should celebrate redemption instead of condemning it. Corey Pegues, up, talking truth, bruh. Check it out. Once a cop.